Well, hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. So I don't have a reference at all for this. I'm just going to kind of wing it, and I don't know if it'll be good or it'll be bad, but it'll be something. But the idea that I'm working with today is a snowy night, and I'm kind of thinking about it in the same sort of language as Van Gogh's Starry Night, but since I'm awaiting a blizzard and just kind of hanging out and painting, I thought that it would be kind of a fun idea. So yeah, I did a couple of like really bad like pen on paper sketches just to kind of get an idea for what I want to do for a layout for this, and I'm actually not even going to look at them while I do this. But the concept is going to be a street scene with a blizzard, and the main light is going to be all from streetlights. So I want to do the streetlights with the snow swirling around them, just being illuminated kind of in the same way that Van Gogh did Starry Night, but keep it kind of fun and impressionistic and expressive, and see if I can come up with some good color combinations on my own without looking at anything. So I don't know, it'll be fun. It'll be a good test of my memory and thoughts around color. So yeah, we're gonna find out. I've got a little bit of paint on here that I'm gonna actually maybe just use. I'm gonna mix up two tones to start with, kind of a lighter tone and a darker tone. I've been enjoying working that way, so I'm gonna do that as a way to kind of apply some structure and yeah, kind of bring the whole thing to life. So the concept is I'm gonna have the street kind of curving down this way. I've got some houses in the background. I'm gonna have a street light in front with light going this way, and yeah, the street will be mainly lit and the fronts of the houses, but then the background will be pretty dark. So I'm gonna probably rely on a lot of layering. So I'm gonna start really dark and then I'm gonna build up to the light. Yeah, so let's make some colors. So I'm gonna mix up a bunch of, let's do phthalo, some ultramarine. I'm gonna go really rich dark blue for this. I'll put in some alizarin as well. Maybe go a little toward purple. And then I'm gonna do a slightly maybe like a pink, maybe a light pink purple. It's a lot of white. Or the other one. Let's see. A big blob of something in there. Get that out of here. And double check that I'm recording, since sometimes I mess that up lately. Okay. So I'm gonna go, actually, maybe a little magenta. Why not? Adding some more white. I think this is going to be a pretty dark scene overall. So I don't need this to be very light, but I don't want it to be overly dark just yet. Okay. To each of those piles, I'm going to add linseed oil and a bit of lavender spike oil. That just keeps it nice for like a wet on wet style, where it will not dry very quickly and it will go on pretty thin for the first coat, which is nice to work into. So start with this. Are you nervous? I'm a little nervous. I look up, at least if I look up in the right direction, I'll look at the camera. I don't really have any reference to be staring at this time around, so. Alright. That looks pretty good. Mix up the other one, so I've got that ready too. Now, let's see what we got here. Okay, let's start with my dark. And I am thinking I'm just going to be dark all across this sky here. Start even blocking in my houses, why not? Keep them kind of big, like, I feel like they're kind of close. I kind of suspect that my scale on some of this might end up a little strange, but I'm not going to worry about that just yet. So I'm picturing my street light being about here. I'm just kind of blocking it in. And then I was thinking about possibly having some trees or bushes, I don't know. Maybe this doesn't, the scale of this might have been wrong, but we'll just try it. Let's see. I like my paintings in general to have something kind of foreground, middle ground, background. Gives you a lot of opportunities for different things to happen. Okay, I think that's so the idea. I was thinking the street. Let's see. Start. Grab. You have to mix a little more of that. We'll start just. I'm using this as a I'll just mark some stuff in here. Let's say that. Thinking if we had power lines, they'd be kind of like swooping over. Wondering if it's just this one light. We'll try that. I don't know for sure. I wanted to put some porches on these houses. I think that having them kind of close to the road, I'm kind of thinking like almost like a ski area vibe or something like that. I think, I don't know, I'm just gonna go up to Vermont soon and do some skiing, so maybe that's what's in my head. Where everything will be pretty dark except for what gets lit up, and then the snow is really coming down and winding around in all these areas. So we'll start here. Let's see where it goes. Thinking this will kind of help me define some of the directions of the white really makes everything a lot thicker. I think I gotta remember that when I'm mixing this. I always need. I don't really know. Let's see. Not really sure what's going on over here yet. I haven't decided. So I'm just gonna keep building up this street. And I think I'm gonna put some glowing windows on these buildings too. Big old blob over there. Okay. Alright, so just kind of keep working this in. I'll have, once I know the canvas is covered, I'll know I have this layer done. So then I'll work into it a little bit more, push some paint around, just kind of figure out what I'm doing. Hopefully. This is gonna get a little darker up here. Really, this street is can't even really tell it's there because the snow has built up so much. But you know where it is because of everything that's kind of built up sticking out of the snow around it. A little bit of white. Just glanced up there again and I'm like, what am I supposed to do over here? There's no answers. I don't know, maybe this is a third house here. I was originally thinking I was two. I always do two houses. I don't know why. I do two houses, two cabins. We'll do three. Why not? I think that's fine. Be not quite as dark, but still quite blue. This is going to have this light kind of coming off of the like maybe that's a compositional faux pas. Just have the corner like this. Maybe adjust it. See what I can do. I don't know. There we go. It's got something to it. I like to build this up quite a lot, so I don't necessarily need all these edges to be exactly what they'll be. I do want to start kind of thinking about how they're gonna work, what the light's gonna do. So maybe I'm just procrastinating. I like this little tree. I'm gonna maybe give it a friend. I'm told that's good to do. I think these will be, it's gonna be nice. They're gonna be a little bit backlit from everything that's going on here. I think that this will probably work, maybe. Alright, wash out this brush and keep on going. Okay. I think the tricky thing when you're working from, I don't know, something imagined or something that you're trying to create when you don't have anything to work from is there's a tendency to put in both like not enough detail and also too much detail at the same time. Sometimes when you're working from observation, you realize which parts of the image you really latch onto, which ones you really need, which ones really make the scene. And when you're working imaginatively, you kind of have to work on, you have to think of everything that would be there, and then you have to think of everything that is important and everything that isn't important and get rid of it. I don't know, at least that's how I've been thinking about it. I think that's why sometimes I find it like an interesting idea, but also kind of a challenge, and I'm not always sure if it's like worth it, but I think this one's gonna be fun. So there is a lot more that has to go into it, I think, to have it come out good. So I think I'm going to focus on making up some colors. So I should probably decide what colors these houses might be. I think they're not going to be all the same. They're all going to be different sort of variations on similar colors, maybe. So, try and get something kind of good for this middle one here. Like these streaky colors happening right now, which I think might work well. Imagine siding, maybe like a window. I think this porch. I really wanted to do a porch. So I'll just try making that. So I think the porch top would have like a little bit more light on it because it's facing up and it's going to be catching some of this stuff. So just try to put more of this light tone on there for now. And then I think it's going to have these sort of vertical bits. Let's see. Back here is going to be the same. Put some windows and a door in there. Let's just see what we can create first. A little bit of phthalo, viridian, alizarin. Just kind of making a dark edge here. Okay. Try that. Nice thing is because I'm working into a wet layer, all the colors are going to kind of naturally work together in a way that they might not if, let's see, give this some steps too. Maybe they're not too defined. There's just a lot going on here. A start. All right. Let's see. We'll do. Maybe this other one is a little bit more of a reddish purple color. Give it a big overhang too. Put some glow to these windows once I have them in there. Let's see. This one has 2 windows. I like the idea of them all being the same, but not quite the same, you know. I thought this is that if I get these background houses kind of fairly well defined, or defined enough that they're believable, then basically I'll be able to kind of go over them with the snow and the blizzard and sort of build up that look. I need to get them to make some amount of sense first before I make them harder to see. Okay, that looks kind of good. All right, so I'll do. This one doesn't have as much of steps. I think that this goes right out almost onto the street. These are all very close close to the road, different things going on. Definitely a good like cabin feel. Okay. Let's see. This guy. Set that door in there though. Alright, this one I'm thinking is probably going to be the most sort of lost in the mix, but maybe make it a little bit more green yellow. Let's try that. Yeah. Just a little place. Let's see. See. There's so much atmosphere that it just kind of works. These houses are probably a little cartoony. Try to make them make sense, but no, I'm not an architect. If you were curious, I'm not an architect. All right, so I'll just keep working at them. This one doesn't get a porch. It does have a door. Maybe it's got a crazy little way about it. All right. Just gonna pop in some of this sort of gestural stuff. It's got a good feel to it. I feel like it's coming. It might actually work. I don't know. It seems silly to make a video where you make a painting and you don't know if it's gonna work, but so far that's how I've made every single one of these. So, all right. This one's a little more wild. All right. Cool. Okay. I'm gonna grab a brush and define things a little bit more. I want to define things a little bit, and I also want to kind of start paint all over this brush. Come on. When I do this, when I've been doing this lately, like I've been kind of going in and doing these like brush stroke sort of definitions of things. It just lets me get some of the things that I couldn't quite get with the knife a little bit more defined. Sometimes I make things softer. I feel like when I look at Van Gogh's work, I feel like he did kind of the same thing. Like a lot of times he'll have like these kind of defining brush strokes that go around. You could tell he kind of like did them later. So he was like, oh, this needs a little more. there's softness or this is more of a drawing look. I like a lot of his paintings to me look like drawings a bit, which I like. I was thinking about I still might do a actual attempt at a copy of Starry Night, but I think that I like to be inspired by other artists, but I don't really want to copy anything. It's like, I don't know, having to try and do the exact thing that he did in one little spot is kind of, I mean, it's probably a really good exercise. I shouldn't complain about it, but it's somehow not exactly what I want to do. Just because I don't know, when I sit down to paint, I'm a little bit kicking back and just doing things that I find relaxing. So, let's see, like this is feeling good. Maybe there's even another little tree here. Kind of good. I'm gonna start trying to think about the snow and how it might be drifting as I'm kind of taking this wet paint and moving it around a little bit. I don't like it. I feel like it kind of comes down and it's like drifting up too. So I'll probably do over a couple layers. I like that. Kind of gives that feeling of the wind really whipping up though. I like that. I think having this first layer have a lot of lines, a lot of gesture in it will be nice. Take that dark in front of the light. I just want to kind of bring the light in front of the dark. So try and stay up more in here and not run into the houses. I'll fix them if I need to. I like this gesture becoming part of it though. I like this, some of this texture. I don't want to lose too much of it, but I think a little softness is good here. Okay, I've decided this is gonna, decide to do this, and realism kind of doesn't go out the window, but you have to be able to relax about it a little bit. It's not going to be 100% realistic, but I don't even really like extremely realistic stuff anyway, so that's fine. I think there might be, there's a tree over here that is kind of similar. Let's see, start putting some green in. I don't know if I want the green, but I think I don't like the green. Not that green anymore, more of this blue one. use this blue to kind of get a base. I wanna work the lights up over the darks, so I'm kind of thinking. Should probably have at least looked up a reference for what streetlights look like. But I just kind of did it. I guess maybe it doesn't have to go. This telephone pole could be higher. The scale's a little weird. Maybe it doesn't matter. Try that. Try that for now. I'm gonna take a little bit of yellow ochre, a little bit of white. I'm gonna just pop that in for now. It's just to start thinking about what the light might do. Kind of like do a little bit the same with the windows too. Try that. Try that for now. Let's see. I want to start thinking about the snow coming in here. I'm gonna just do it all white, but I think some white will help me think about what's happening. This is really thinking about it all blowing across here. I'm trying to get this to a nice place where I want to let it sit. And then I'll be able to do more kind of bold colors that won't mix in as much. I thought if I had this kind of structure pretty well defined first, it would feel good. I don't want to cover up too much of these. Well, maybe I have to. I don't know. Let's just try it. Maybe I'll ruin the whole thing. I think. I like that. I like this framing of this window, actually. I think that's actually kind of a nice detail where I can have the snow kind of swirling up and down and around. That works. It's a little trickier to do this also for knife painting because usually I try to be fairly color accurate. I'm not really matching colors to anything, so kind of just move it around, but it's good. Brush gives it a good, it's a kind of a nice way to do form without that might be a good place to leave it for session 1. Well, I don't know. Wish me luck. I'll be back in a few. All right. Well, hello. I'm back. It's been a few days since I worked on this. Actually got out of town. Got to go skiing for a little bit. So I had an extra bit of snowy inspiration now. Got a lot of things I'm excited about painting, but I'm going to pick this one back up. My plan for this is to do a lot of sort of different gestural strokes and build up a lot of texture, different kind of contrasting and vibrating colors. So I'm just going to get into it. I think I'm going to start writing with some wax. This is quite dry at this point. I don't think there's anything at all that's wet on this, because it was fairly thin to begin with, and now it's had a few days to dry. So yeah, I think I'm gonna start in first layering in some lights. Is that what I want to do? Yeah, I think I'm gonna try and stay on the warmer, lighter side for right now, and then I'm probably gonna go back in and layer some more darks over that, and sort of darks and cool tones. So I'm gonna start with whites and yellows and maybe some orange. Just kind of see where that goes. It'll probably get really glowy, and then I'll probably take it back down and bring in some more contrast. Yeah, so let's see how we do. Let's see, this is wax. I think this is a little too set up. Start that fresh. Probably a bunch of these colors are, well, yellow ochre seems okay. That's the cad yellow, and get rid of that sort of globby stuff on top. I do feel like the oil paints just work out well, or I really don't. I don't end up with nearly as much paint dried on the palette that I end up having to scrape off at the end and lose. Start. Yeah, I don't really need the phthalo yet. I'm not gonna worry about that. I've got the ultramarine there. put out some cad red light, I think. I've got that white. That'll be good enough to start with. Something that I'm kind of interested in trying is I'm gonna set out a couple of different colors, and then I'm gonna load multiple colors onto the knife and try to work with that. It's a very sort of Van Gogh thing to do. I think the wax is going to help this not have an overly blended look. I want to keep all the colors kind of being their brightest versions of themselves to really, even though this is a dark scene, really have a lot of glow and a lot of life to it. Alright. So let's see. I'm going to take some of this cat yellow and some wax. Start by just mixing that up. It's very intense. I think it will work well. And we'll do some, I'm going to take this cat yellow light. I kind of do the same thing. I'm going to make a few different piles that'll be pretty strong, pretty one pigment type of colors that I can pop around between. Maybe I'll do the same thing with some yellow ochre. And a little white to this yellow ochre. Just boost it up a little. And then I think the last one I want to do that with is maybe some cad red light. Needs a little help. Great color. I think it's my favorite color. Okay. I'm not going to need a lot of that. It's one of those colors that a little goes a long way. It's really a lot of fun. All right. And then some white, I think, which even a little bit of this is in the white will be a good thing, I think. Let's do that. Nice warm white. Some different fun things to work with. Okay. This should be a good time. So yeah, what I'm thinking about doing first is really bringing in the white, which I think is going to come from the street light, the windows, to a degree though. The windows won't be glowing quite as much as the light. And then just lighting up some of these bits of snow, all that are kind of crossing along this. And then I'm thinking that as I get closer, I've got these trees here that are kind of almost silhouettes. They're going to be backlit. And then actually probably some snow that will also be backlit. It's the big fluffy flakes that are blocking the light in front of the light, possibly. I'm kind of thinking of using that to create like a vignette. So I want to keep, most of the light is going to be kind of thinking about almost like an oval shape in here. For the most part, though there'll be a little bit everywhere too. All right, let's see how we do. Again, I don't have a reference for this, so I'm just trying stuff. this knife. I think I'm going to mostly stick to a knife that will give kind of a rounder shape. Got this little oval knife, and then I've got this one here that has these little dots, which I think that might work for some additional layering. I'm going to shut my iPad off since I'm not looking at anything on it anyway. Alright. So I'm thinking that right near this light, it's going to be the brightest little snow things, and then they're going to fall off. So then it will, so maybe we'll start with this sort of, let's see, I almost think, I'm trying to figure out the right shape for this. Do see where it goes. I'm gonna bring some of this gesture in. I like how this is, some of the brush strokes are picking it up a little bit differently in the background. I'm hoping not to blot out my houses entirely. The idea for this is to have some different layers, different things going on. Start with that. See, then I'm thinking that it would shift to some of this more orangey, red-orange light. Almost like a little halo. See. Oh, that's what I'd wanted to do too. So I was thinking about some white, some orange, trying to layer them in. Not mixing them on the knife, just taking a little bit of both. It's interesting. This is probably going to look a little weird for a while. I'm going to do this. Thinking coming up in here and sort of imagining these gusts as the snow's kind of picking up. Almost like waves. I'm not worrying too much about getting really crisp edges anywhere, because I think that the feeling in this one is going to really come from having a lot of overlapping layers. So a little of that. Do a little bit more in here, same deal. just kind of concentrating on the light, putting it in where it ought to go. I don't know how long. This might be a painting that ends up taking a really long time, just because I probably will take a number of sort of breaks within it, let different things set up. Okay, it's starting to feel pretty good. I'm gonna put a little of the same light on the edges of these trees here. Almost looks like fireworks right now. I like the idea of that though. I think having a really bright, bringing all the really bright things out in a really sort of dark and chaotic scene is kind of a nice way to do it. It's kind of like you can find different things in any situation. All right. I think up here, I'm gonna have some more of this very lit up snow. It's gonna kind of fall off a little though. It's not gonna be quite as intense or as sort of streaky. That's what I'm thinking anyway. It's kind of coming more towards you. I'll try bringing this knife into the mix too. Try and like that. I think it just breaks it up a little bit. Because it's not as though the snow is actually it's kind of got the colors are coming because of the light, but the movement of the snow is actually completely different. So it's just that's coming from the wind, which I'm imagining is kind of blowing through this way here. I don't know. It's an experiment. We will see. I'm thinking about using this knife to do the wind, and then I kind of used the other knife to do the light pattern so far anyway. Just gotta keep going. All right. So keep building this up here. I'm gonna let it get really thick and chunky, I think. Okay. I also don't want to like cover up all of this blue because the whole point of putting that first layer in for structure was to start kind of creating the space. a little sideways brush, kind of picking up some of these little high spots, even though it's pretty flat. It's kind of nice. I was thinking, I hadn't skied in a really long time, actually. Actually, usually snowboard, but I was just kind of wanting to try something different. But I was thinking, actually, both things work quite a bit like palette knifing. Because you've got these little sort of carving motions, and then you've got these kind of like buttering motions, I guess. Both can be for different things. Like this, it's kind of rounding in here. Following along with some of my brush strokes from earlier, just kind of bringing in these curves, lighting up the edges. Anytime you have a sort of blue and a yellow next to each other, or a blue and an orange next to each other, they really pop each other out a lot. Using that yellow ochre over here a little bit more, just because it's a little bit more subtle. A lot of these are going to end up being sort of highlights and details that get sort of smoothed out and covered up, but they're almost just kind of laying different bases and different levels in. I like that two-knife combo. It's kind of, yeah, I like going kind of even a little bit thicker in some of these spots. I just feel like you're almost sort of blowing off the page with this one. It's like, I think that's okay. I like it being, it's a little bit unbalanced, but it's not necessarily a scene that needs to make you feel like all is right in the world. I think it's, if anything, you think, well, hopefully I'm indoors for this. All right. Let's keep going. Trying to decide if I've got all of the sort of maximum brightness in that I need for right now. I feel like there's probably more I could do. I don't want to obscure this area too much. I think I may try to keep working the outsides and keeping this a little bit clear for now. Yeah, I think that's okay. I can always come back to some of these colors later if I need to. maybe this one I mix a little more toward the cad yellow light. Just having a lot of variety can be nice. And some real nice thick ones there. I was looking at some kind of high-res photos of Starry Night and noticed even though I feel like I paint thick, it's not anywhere near as thick as like Van Gogh's brushstrokes. It's kind of nice. A little more of this orange over here. Just a couple. Very intense. I really like it though. Okay. I think this is gonna really come together from the layering. I think it's not really driven by mixing lots of different tones. It's about kind of applying kind of full strength paint in different patterns across it. At least that's kind of how I'm seeing it happen. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit of a lighter blue. I'm gonna start getting a little risky and go a little cooler with this. Not quite as full strength. I'm gonna mix in a little ultramarine. I'm going to start just bringing in some of these sort of less high profile areas. A little cobalt too, maybe. Just kind of start building texture. I'm not really even looking to go too much different than some of these tones I already had established. Just sort of work them on in. Sort of not really thinking about weaving some different tones in. Grab a little bit more wax for this. We'll see. In general, I wanted to wait on bringing more blue in, but I kind of feel like there's some areas where I'm working on top of dry paint below, so I think it's okay to start those up a little bit. I'm gonna try and stay out of most of my lights though. So I'm gonna go right into some phthalo, right into some wax, maybe a little viridian, just a little. I'm not gonna go too blue with these trees, but I was thinking, I'm not gonna go too green with these trees rather, but they could have a little bit. These kind of, to me, feel like a little bit reminiscent of the cypress trees in Starry Night. That feels like it goes. It's kind of a nice little nod. I haven't really decided if this idea is brilliant or cheesy, but I kind of don't care. Hopefully you don't either. Maybe it can it be both? Can it be brilliant and cheesy at the same time? With that mostly set up. Mix up a little bit more. Yeah, it's a little too lumpy. I'm gonna clean out that phthalo pile. It's a little out of control. Roll this one out too. I feel like, I don't know, maybe I haven't done this to most of my paints in a while. It's very helpful. We'll do the viridian too. We'll add it. We'll roll the alizarin. I'm not really using any alizarin in this, but the tube still needed a little work. I know there are people who paint in oils and don't end up covered in paint. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why that is. Let's see. I'm gonna mix up a little bit more of that tree color. My palette is a little crowded, so probably mixing. I'll leave that there actually. I don't want to bring the white in here. That. Bit of green. Bit of wax. I feel like this is lending itself to some more gentle knife work than I often do. A lot of times I'm trying to put big broad areas of color in. So I'm kind of letting it have a lot of strokes and a lot of texture. And letting it build a little bit more slowly. It's a good exercise. Might give some different sounds too. I'll put a little bit of paint down here and work the texture into it. I think this is going to be fairly uniform for now. I may work in some other colors on it later, but for now, having it more or less the same is fine. Kind of good. I think I'm going to go with a little bit of a lighter blue just around some of these edges here. To start working in some different colors. It gives me a way to test out some of my thinking in a not super critical place. Yeah, I want it to kind of flow into these. A little bit of a darker blue, but not quite as dark as the trees. Sort of give this some depth. Like that, like how it's starting to kind of give you a transition to these brights. Sort of starts to bring some texture across the whole thing. It feels like thinking about weaving. Weaving seems like a theme in this, or especially impressionist style painting. Nice thing is the wax is kind of good at not mixing. So I can do a little bit with this. I'm careful. I like being able to bring these darks back in across here. Like this is just building it up a little bit more. Giving a little bit more character to the marks. A little bit of a mix in there, I don't know if it's really what I wanted. But I just thought I'd try it over there. I'm gonna keep building up this dark area here. A little bit more. That's pretty good. Dragging out a few of these kind of more blunt edges, letting them break up and go a bit longer. All right. Do a little more with this. I think I'm probably getting close to another stopping point. I want to work into these windows and sort of more focal point pieces with a fresh start. But some of these other blues that I've built up, I want to get a little bit more depth into place on them. It's feeling pretty good. See, those green streaks are what I'm trying to generally avoid. But okay, we'll clean that up later. Let's see. Bounce that out a little bit. Manicuring a few of these blobs. I don't know if that's even necessary. Probably a bad idea. Probably better to just let them be what they are. Yeah, we'll take another break. We'll be back at it. I think it's really interesting. I don't know. Maybe it'll be good. Alright. Hello, and I'm back. Just clean this up a little bit. Left a little bit of a mess last time. I'm liking where this painting is going. I'm not entirely sure when I know that it will be done, but my plan for today is going to be to work back in on some of the blues and the cooler tones. Try to give a little bit more definition to the background, probably tone down some of this foreground and just create a little bit more depth here. I'm probably going to go in with a brush, just for a little bit more control. I think that will end up working out well. I may leave kind of the outer edges probably the roughest, and then kind of try and dial in as I get in closer a little bit more careful, a little bit more in focus, though it will also be sort of obscured by the snow continuing to move across. I realize that in some ways this is a little bit more complicated than Starry Night, because in Starry Night the sky is actually entirely the background and everything in front is actually clear, and because I wanted the snow to be sort of that blowing, I wanted to have a lot of like transparency to it, so I may end up going pretty far off track in order to kind of resolve it, but I don't know. It's an interesting experiment. I think it's going to be a really good exercise one way or the other. So, just wipe this down. Start by mixing up some blues. These will be sort of less vibrant colors, but I'll try to give a little bit more structure to it. I'm gonna try and do some shorter strokes as well. While these long streaking forms are really nice, I think they're not quite snowy looking. I think that it would be better if they were more broken up, so I'm gonna keep working that in too. Let's try brush would be a good brush for it. That one's cleaner. So it's a little bit stiff. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll be about the right size. I'm tempted to go smaller, but I don't have a smaller rectangular brush. And I think having a little bit of a shape to it will be better than a round brush right now. I'm looking, I actually did decide to put out a reference, which isn't a real reference, it's just a picture of Starry Night, so I can look in at some of Van Gogh's brushstrokes, and see how he handled different color transitions and things like that. So it won't be really a picture that I'm copying from, but it'll have some style details that I can sort of grab onto. Put out. I'm gonna top up all my blues to start with. So put more phthalo. More ultramarine. Some cobalt. And I need some white as well. Take the shortcut and use the end of this tube. I think I might go back to the tubes when I finish up that jar. It's just kind of annoying. And I feel like because there ends up being so much airspace in the jar, I think that ultimately I don't know if I'll get the full use out of it that I was hoping for anyway. Get out a little bit of linseed oil. And I've got my dropper with the lavender spike oil as well. Let's see. I think I'm just going to go in here. I've been thinking about this area here and really bringing this white light area in. Alright, I'm going to start by mixing up some colors though. So first I want to start with sort of some blues and purples, I think. So I'm going to actually add a little bit of alizarin as well. Looks like I used more than that than I thought I did last time. But I like a nice phthalo alizarin purple. I can go even brighter with phthalo and magenta, but it seems kind of unnecessary for this painting to go that saturated. This will give me a kind of cooler purple. Okay, like that. Just grab a little bit of it. Move it over. Add a little bit of white into that. I'll grab this messier white that I've got. Well, if it's not too lumpy. Maybe it's too lumpy. I'll grab a little bit of that. It's kind of nice. I think I'm going to do a little bit more of a purple one. Some of them I just kind of want to have a nice variety of tones that are in the neighborhood of what I'm going for to work from. See, those seem kind of nice. I might go one even more phthalo. I've got some kind of warmer and darker ones. Do maybe an ultramarine. Ultramarine's really nice. It's actually very warm blue. So actually I could have mixed that in with the alizarin. It might have even been a better purple. Let's see. There. It's a lot of nice cold colors now. Nice variety. Okay, we'll start there. So I'm going to take a little bit of this just straight white with no medium, not really almost anything. I'm going to just start brushing in a little bit here. I'm actually going to add a little bit of linseed oil to it just to help it flow. A little too sticky. Something I've been thinking about for this was kind of these little halo effects that you would create around the lights. And I'm trying to bring a similar effect here. I was thinking the brush might be good, but maybe I've already got too much thickness. Well, let's try it. It might be a mistake, but we'll find out. I really want to get into the warm colors here. I'm doing it just a little. Just mixed up all these nice blues and then I want to muck around here. Alright. I probably should just stop doing that. Felt like I needed this light to look a little bit more alive. Starting to bring in some of these blues now. Just trying to, some of it I've got like these like warm to cool transitions. Just trying to figure out how to kind of navigate them. Putting a little bit of X into this just to make the brushstrokes stand up a little bit more. I think they were looking a little too dull. trying to get this like feeling of turbulence in here. I'm kind of working at the edges on purpose so that as I work in a little bit more, I maybe have a better sense of what I'm doing. My strategy is. Okay. I'm thinking that some of this area here could be a little bit more, would have a little bit more structure to it. I'm going to kind of work the shadows in here. Kind of like that way that that's playing over the texture that was already there. Just sort of gives, I kind of want these feelings of like this kind of gusting, translucent snow. It's interesting to try to build a painting with a lot of different translucency in it without actually being like I'm painting pretty opaque. I don't know, might work, might not work. Like this one definitely goes through phases where it feels closer, feels like it's going. Like having this edge not be quite so contrasty is kind of good. Just gonna bring in your eye back in a little bit more. Brush this a little there. It's pretty good. Okay. Try and just feel out house form a little bit more too. I like that crossing over is kind of nice. It gives you that feeling of the gust. It darkens over here. I don't want this to feel too treacherous though. Also kind of trying to break this up a little bit. I think I'll probably bring back some of these little bright spots again. I think for me this thing really feels like it's a lot about layering. It's about like kind of doing some different things and then doing some different things over it. Just kind of creating a lot of directions. blocking these architectural shapes a little bit more than I normally would, but I like that's kind of what he did with his town, so I'll try it. In this kind of an environment, it's like it takes quite a bit of effort to keep track of where everything is, so I can understand the line to just outline some things. Let's see. There's a roof in here somewhere. Again, I don't want it to get overly clear, but I also didn't want to lose it completely either. Some of these, that's actually kind of a nice effect, these sort of alternating brush strokes. I feel like this kind of gives you more of a, it's actually almost more of a snow feel, which, since that's what I'm going for, feels a little bit less purely directional. I'll try that. Kind of like this idea of starting with something as an inspiration piece and then ultimately just letting it be its own exploration too. I don't know for sure, but might be something in that. But I like all these little broken bits of light that are kind of popping through here. I think that's it's kind of a good setup. least one more shot at this with the warm colors again afterward. Taking some ultramarine and popping that in there. I think it just gives that feeling of the snow breaking up. It's not coming out. The wind might be kind of in like lines, but the snow, it's kind of doing its own thing. A bit like me, maybe. All right. Trying to make some kind of smaller ones, or I see this being further back just to give that sense, a little bit of depth. It's kind of a very, in a way, it's sort of a flat feeling painting, because it, I don't know exactly why, actually. Some of these, some like indications of something this house needs to kind of ground it. Oh, these are like snowbanks or something like that, I think. Originally I had this kind of going up to the street. I think I might still kind of operate on that idea. Put these kind of snowbanks in. brightening up this house a little bit more. Just layer it a little bit more on these trees too. Just kind of gives the effect of lighting them up a little bit. Still want them to be mostly silhouette, but I think some glowing edges can always be nice. It's coming along. Probably gonna let it set up again one more time. Just putting a little bit more of this light blue, and I think I'm gonna do some kind of like light yellow as well. Feeling a little messier than I wanted it to, in a way. I think letting it set will probably let me be a little bit cleaner. Thinking about giving myself a little bit more dark in here. Start with that. Probably kind of weave that light back out. I did basically completely lose the pole here that this was meant to be coming from. I think I might bring it back in. Let's see. Just wasn't entirely sure, but I think I would like it to be there. Might be one of those terrible decisions, but we'll see. I'll probably be able to come back over this anyway, so thinking actually I'm gonna even put a few brush strokes over it right now. Again, it's in the foreground. The light is coming from this direction. I can always put a couple of little flecks of light along it too. I'm gonna clean off this brush. Maybe this other one too. No, it's still frozen solid. So I'll just wash this one. Interesting. It's definitely like really gloppy. It's kind of cool. It's probably, I think, like obviously like a much faster way to get to a similar look, but I'm definitely just sort of figuring it out too. I don't know why I don't like to do that though. And then I have to wash this again. That's okay. But I think, yeah, like probably one more session with this one. Should be just about right. Alright, I'll be back in a few. Well, hello. And I'm back. I'm thinking this is going to be the last session on this one. It's been a really good exercise, and I think that I'll probably wrap it up now. the last thing I want to do is bring a little bit more clarity to this house, and then I want to put in a little bit more of like light illuminated snow in this main focal area here. I'm going to put a little bit more of a highlight on this house as well, I think. Just kind of have this whole center area feel like it's glowing just a little bit more. I think in a way that this is a piece that it almost feels like a first draft for me. Like I could do another one based on this and based on what I've learned here. It would almost be better to start fresh on it. I don't know if I will, but that's sort of where I feel like I've learned a lot from it. So I'm gonna keep on rolling. Yeah. I think I'm gonna start with my lighter tones that I wanted to bring back in. So I'm gonna do some whites and pinks and yellows, and mainly I'm thinking of kind of framing out this area here, and then I want to have some snow in here. Obviously there's like nothing covering this house, and I've wanted to keep it pretty clear, but I do want to have a little bit of that snowy atmosphere kind of coming in here. So maybe some little waves of snow, and some of these areas here a little bit wet there. Boost them up a little brighter. Yeah, that's coming. Thinking I may use. I'm gonna use a knife. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back to this knife just because I want these to be really nice and crisp. I almost wish I had a knife that was shaped a little bit more like that, sort of rectangular, but not too wide. I'd kind of want it to be sort of small, but I think I'll be able to work with this. So, start by mixing up a little bit of white, a little bit of cad red light, a little bit of magenta even. I'll just try and make a few different colors here. I'm gonna kind of do something like I was doing before. I was doing these alternating strokes. See, I feel like snow kind of has this opposite. Little bits going one way and then the other. In a way, as I was kind of thinking about this as a first draft, I was kind of noticing that I've got some kind of messy marks in a way that comparing to what Van Gogh did, I feel like they're just not quite the character. And I think it's because I actually have a lot of layers that I've covered things up, and in a way, now that I've kind of worked it out, I could probably do it with a lot less. Got that one. Do kind of the same thing over here. Trying to kind of think as I go here. Getting a little bit lighter, a little bit less saturated as I get away from the light. bring in a little white too. Doing kind of the same thing one way, then the other way. I feel like this is it's a nice challenge because I feel like I'm trying to capture something that there's no kind of right answer to, because really I'm trying to capture something that's in motion, but with a still image. Like that, because this sort of illuminated edge. Feels a little better. Maybe even a little yellow. Yeah, it feels a little bit more lit up that way. And just put a little bit of wax in there too. A little red, a little yellow. It's interesting, I don't know. I'll probably let it be soon, regardless. I think that a little bit of a line there is good though. I didn't want to have them be the houses be completely lost. It's definitely a good way to paint where you have to get up and give it a look from further back. That part get really thick. Just putting a little bit of light along this edge here. I think that just kind of helps this climb out of the dark. I don't know. I kind of like it. It's definitely the messiest painting I've done in quite some time. To decide how much I want to put a little snow in across here. I don't want to overly obscure it, but I don't want it to look like it's completely forgotten either. So I'm just dotting it in a little bit of light blue. Kind of trying to make sure I vary my angle a little bit. That's probably about right. It just puts a little bit more movement in there. I think I'm gonna let that one be right there. All right, well, I hope you've enjoyed this one, and yeah, let me know what you think of the format of just I don't know, doing something a little bit more experimental like this. Yeah, let me know if you liked it. Let me know if you didn't like it, I guess. But be nice. Let's see. Yeah, but I hope you have a wonderful day or night or whatever you're off to next.